I woke up to the shrill ring of that ancient black rotary phone cutting through the dead silence of my grandma's house. My heart slammed against my ribs as I sat bolt upright in a creaky twin bed, sweat already soaking my 15-year-old t-shirt. It was 1987, middle of a sticky Midwest summer, and that phone had been gathering dust in the attic for years. Unplugged, no dial tone, nothing. But there it was, ringing again, insistent and wrong. I told myself it was a dream until the third ring made the floorboards groan overhead like something heavy was shifting up there. My parents had dropped me off 2 days earlier for what they called a character-building week, while they handled some work crisis back in the city. Grandma Evelyn was 68, sharp as a tack with her silver hair always in a neat bun, wire-rimmed glasses perched on her narrow nose, and a no-nonsense way of moving that made you feel like she'd seen every trick in the book. She'd raised my dad alone after Grandpa disappeared in '68, Vietnam era, and she never talked about it much, just kept the house spotless with her collection of porcelain dolls lining the shelves like silent watchers. I was the awkward kid who preferred comic books and my Walkman over sports, always fiddling with gadgets, which is why I noticed the phone first. It had been my grandpa's, a heavy Bakelite thing with a faded label that read property of E. Harlan. Grandma's hands shook a little when she dusted around it, her usual steady grip faltering like she was hiding some old guilt. She'd lost him young, or so the story went, and the attic was off limits except for storage. The air up there always felt thicker, like it held on to cigarette smoke from decades ago, even though no one smoked anymore. That first night the ringing started, I crept upstairs with my flashlight, the beam cutting through cobwebs and stacks of yellowed newspapers from the '70s. The phone sat on an old oak desk, cord dangling uselessly, but it kept ringing, 7, 8 times. My fingers trembled as I picked up the receiver. Static crackled, then a man's voice, faint and distorted like through bad AM radio. Evie, that you, darling? The boys are coming home soon. Don't wait up. It sounded exactly like the old home movies Dad showed me once. Grandpa's warm baritone with that slight drawl. I slammed it down, pulse racing, telling myself it was kids pranking from somewhere or faulty wiring in this creaky 1920s farmhouse. But Grandma appeared at the attic stairs in her faded floral nightgown, face pale under the moonlight filtering through the dusty window. You heard it too, didn't you, Tommy? Go back to bed. It's nothing. Her voice was too calm, but her eyes darted to the phone like it was a live snake. I pressed her later over breakfast, burnt toast, and weak coffee, about why she kept it. She admitted Grandpa had called her from the front lines sometimes, cryptic messages about the boys meaning his unit, but he went MIA, and the call stopped cold in '68. She changed the subject quick, her habit of twisting her wedding ring 3 times whenever she lied kicking in. I had my own secret. I'd been sneaking cigarettes from Dad's old stash, feeling grown up, but now the nicotine buzz mixed with this dread that made my stomach twist. By the second night, the ringing came earlier, at 2:47 a.m., and when I answered, the voice was clearer, pleading. Evie, the mud's so thick. Tell Tommy not to follow the lights. My name. How did it know my name? I dropped the receiver and it swung there, still murmuring static until Grandma yanked the whole thing off the desk with surprising strength for her age. Enough, she whispered, but her hands were ice cold when she gripped my shoulder. The third night, everything broke. The ringing didn't stop after 10 rings. It built into this frantic jangle that vibrated through the walls, making the porcelain dolls downstairs clatter on their shelves that I bolted to the attic again. Grandma right behind me this time, her breath ragged. The phone was off the hook somehow, lying there buzzing. I grabbed it, and the voice came through loud, no static. Tommy, it's your grandpa. The boys never made it back. Evie knew. She burned the letters so no one would know I begged her to pull strings to get me out. The lights and the rice paddies, they weren't rescue. Grandma lunged for the receiver, her face twisting in a mix of fury and terror I'd never seen, screaming. You left us. You weren't supposed to call anymore. Her secret spilled out in that moment. She'd had an affair with a local official during the war, used it to try saving him, but it backfired. And she'd hidden the truth for 20 years, the guilt eating at her like the attic dust. The line went dead with a final click, but the air turned freezing, my flashlight flickering as shadows stretched wrong across the rafters. Then the phone started ringing one last time, even unplugged, and smashed on the floor now. I felt hands, cold, muddy, brush my arm, and Grandma collapsed, whispering, they're here for me. I never slept in that house again. My parents picked me up early after Grandma had a stroke that left her muttering about old calls. The phone was gone when I checked later, but sometimes at 3 a.m. in my own room back home, I swear I hear a faint rotary click in the walls. Grandma passed quietly a month later, her eyes wide open like she was still listening. I kept her wedding ring, twisting it 3 times whenever the quiet gets too loud. Whatever came through that line, it wasn't just a ghost. It was unfinished business, and it made me realize some secrets ring forever if you don't answer them right. Now I jump at any old phone, wondering if the boys are still out there in the dark, waiting.